find me on Instagram and Ravelry, both as Avid Knits. Today is Tuesday, March 29th, 2022, and I am coming to you from my home just outside of Portland, Oregon. Hi, I hope everybody has had a really good week and a half since the last time that I recorded. Yeah, not really any reason for it. I just wanted to finish at least one thing before I talk to you again. And that I did. And then I didn't really get any more done than I thought I would. But that's okay. We went on a couple of adventures this past weekend. We biked a new trail system that they're opening up. And we went to the Japanese gardens. And we found a really great sushi place. We've just kind of been doodling around, but I haven't been taking my camera, so I don't have any clips to show you this time. Sorry, I know I normally put them at the beginning of the video, but I don't have any for you this week. So yeah, so I guess we'll start out with what I'm wearing. This is the Hay sweater by Clare Mountain. It was in Lane issue 3, maybe 5. I'll put it here. I knit it out of Yarn on the House, Little Brother, which is a merino cashmere nylon blend. And it is in the colorway Pomegranate. Funny story, I actually knit this sweater. I came to Portland to visit a girlfriend that I'll talk about in a little bit. And I accidentally booked my trip over Mother's Day. Like, none of us really thought about that. And I cast this on the plane on the way up here, and I knit on it while I was here. And I think that I had maybe a little bit of I did the back, and I think I had a little bit of the front left, and then the sleeves by the time that I got home 3 days later. So it was a very, very quick knit. I really enjoyed it. I've actually been thinking about making another one because I have a bunch of non-superwash that I would like to use, and I really like the cut. It's slightly cropped, but not much, and it has this really lovely, you can see my little N hanging out here. Shh, pretend you didn't see that. You can see this really lovely lace panel going all the way down. Yeah, it has a little interesting details on the cuffs, and it's really one of my favorite knits. I don't know why I don't wear it more often, actually. So yeah, that's my sweater that I'm wearing today. It is cloudy. Apparently we're supposed to have a bunch of rain in the forecast for tomorrow. We had a beautiful weekend. It was in the 70s and sunny, and it was gorgeous. And then yesterday and today have been overcast, but not bad. But today is one of those weird days, you know, where it's 60, but it's overcast and kind of wet, but it's not raining. And so 60 is one of those temperatures I find that can either be like, it's 60, or it can be like, ooh, it's 60, you know, and today is the chilly version. So, yeah. I have one finished object this episode, and that is my Happy Blues sample. I'm super, super happy with how this turned out. This was a really fun knit. Jamie, obviously, I knit for Jamie all the time. Jamie Hoffman is the designer behind this sweater, which will be coming soon. And I knit a sample for her. This is the smallest size she will provide. It fits a 28 to 30 inch chest. I will put a picture of Hector wearing it here. And it was so much fun. I knit it out of an undyed. The main color is Fully Spun in the colorway Nothing There, which is a Black woman owned hand-dyed yarn company, and she has beautiful stuff. Her yarn is amazing, and it plumps up and it gets super scooshy, and I kind of want a sweater quantity now. It's really nice. And then the contrast color is in Mustache Yarn, and it is a self-striping colorway in Kama Sutra, and that is a woman-owned dye shop as well, based in Texas. I have one little, okay, there it goes. I had one little stitch that was doing little weird things. It does have folded over everything, so the neckline is knit, and then you fold it and you tack it down, and then the cuffs are knit and then folded over and tacked down, so you get this super squishy, really lovely cuff, and same with the hem. So I just used a whip stitch, which if you're not familiar is when you take your yarn, you have the two that you're going to put together, and you just take your yarn out of the bottom and you come over the top and you come back in. Like you just kind of loop it as you go. And it's really, really simple, and it ended up being really clean. This is my first color work raglan. So you have your raglan shaping right here, which is puckering just a tad while it lays flat, but once you put it on a body, it stretches all of that, it rounds all of that out really well, and then there's no puckering at all. So I'm super, super happy with this. I am going to ship it off tomorrow, so I wanted to make sure that I had a chance to talk about it. Yeah, and I will keep you posted on when it is released. I'm very glad that Jamie reached out and asked me to knit it for her. Kama Sutra has a bunch of colorways or colors that feed into it. And so each sleeve, let's say that the sleeve right here is about half of a color repeat. And there's a color right here in between the brown and the orange. It's this cream color. But the cream color was so close to the main color that I didn't like it. It didn't show up, especially when the color shifts were so fast up top. And you were just getting like little blips of the tops of the butterfly. So I just cut it out. So this is my little ball of the extra long tail that I had when I cast on because I misjudged how much yarn I needed. The color that I cut out, little bits that were left after I got done with the sleeve. I tried to make sure that my sleeves matched. Not perfectly, but you know, as much as possible. And I did pretty good. It's not perfect, but I did pretty good. They end on pretty much the same color anyway. So when I got done with that, because I had cut out a section in order to be able to do the other sleeve, I had some left over. And so I held it together with the main color so that I would get like a DK weight or worsted weight. And I made this guy. This is the pattern is Bluebirds of Happiness, and I don't remember the designer. I'll put it here for you. It's a free pattern. Shh. It's okay. It's a free pattern. It is meant for a worsted weight, but you can use a DK. I think she knits worsted on like a size 3 needle or size 4. And you can't really see it because the yarn is marled, but you can see there's little wrap and turns that creates the eyes, and then the way that the decreases come down, it kind of creates little wing tips. Mine has a little rounder tail than I'd like, I guess, but you could put a little bit extra yarn and kind of poke him up a little bit and have a cute little butt. You know, there you go. So that's a little better. But Jamie has a hard road ahead with a family member, like with her mom right now, with some medical stuff. And I just kind of thought that might cheer her up a little bit, just be something cute to squeeze in there, since I do knit for her a lot. And we are friends and we do talk quite a bit, so. Yeah, anyway, so that's my Happy Blues sample, and I'm super happy with it, and I'm glad that it's done. Unfortunately, it being done doesn't mean that I got anything else done. So by the time that I got done with that, I was on 9-inch circulars for the color work for the cuffs, which isn't bad for me, but was kind of aggravating some tendon issues that I've had over the last couple of years from knitting so much, and I've been trying to make sure that I give myself a couple of days off. I try really hard not to knit on the weekends. So I knit Saturday. My husband went out to Mount Hood, which is about 40 minutes from us. He went out to the mountain to check out a really great set of trails that they have over there, kind of gauge it for Hector's skill level. That's the word I'm looking for. I know his name. I got that part. The skill level, for his skill level, to see if it would be too advanced for him, and he says it's not, so that's really great. We have a new trail system to go check out. But he got home right about lunchtime that day, and then we went to REI to pick out some waterproof hiking shoes for Hector because his just get wet. And that's, I don't know, after you've had like your shoes get wet, they never really are the same, and they definitely smell. And so we went out and we did that, and we just took our time, and we got dinner out and at a really nice sushi place. nice by like really good, not nice like fancy, like really good sushi place. And then we, yeah, just kind of had a quiet night in. I think we were watching Loki maybe. I don't really remember. And then Sunday we got up again. Like I said, we went to the trails, a different set, one that's a lot closer to us here. And then we went to the Japanese gardens to see the cherry blossoms, and we drove along the waterfront. Ted McCall, I believe it's Ted. I don't think it's Tom. I think it's Ted. If I'm wrong, I'll put it here. Ted McCall Waterfront Park in Portland was gifted 100 cherry blossom trees by Japanese Institute and an AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander organization, as a city gift type thing. And they're all along the waterfront, and they're all planted in a row, and there's a sidewalk and the river's right there, and you can just stroll underneath all the cherry trees, and it was really beautiful. We didn't do the walking part because we had just been to the gardens, but we did drive through and we got to see it, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and the bridges were all, you know, lit up in the sunshine. It was absolutely gorgeous. We had a great time. And yeah, so I didn't do a lot of knitting this weekend. I did, however, start my friend Camille, who lives on the other side of Portland, whom I came to visit. Okay, I talk about her all the time. Her little girl is turning 2 this weekend, and I'm a super great aunt and totally waited until the last minute to cast her on a sweater. I was trying to finish my sample, you guys. It's not a big deal. I cast her on a sweater for her birthday, and I'm having some second thoughts about it, so I figure I'll just talk to you about it, and then I'll probably rip it out after we're done. So this is what I have so far. It's just the very top of the yoke. I am knitting the Baby Boheme sweater by, sorry guys, I should have looked all of this up, but I didn't. And I'm using Cascade 220 Superwash to do so. This is the color, it is 100% Superwash Merino, 220 yards per 50 grams. This is the colorway Artisan Gold, and the main color is, and the main color is cream. So I'm sure you've seen the picture, but the Baby Boheme starts with the gold and then works in white color work and then fades out to white on the body. It is a bottom up sweater. I'm adapting it to work it top down. But something that I am discovering about that, I don't know if it's because I'm working it top down. I can't really tell. I don't have a problem with adapting it to work top down. But like my floats are really nice. They're really, you know, easy. Everything is fine. But this yarn doesn't really grab itself. And something that I'm finding is I have tried color dominance in both ways. So having my contrast color above, because I carry both in left hand. So I have my contrast color above and below both. And I'm not getting anywhere with it. What's happening is that my stitches are disappearing. So you have to pull vertically. And partially, part of the reason I think that that's happening is because when you do your increases are to one side of a contrast color. I'm using a make one increase, I'm using a left lifted increase because I don't like the way that my make ones leave little gaps sometimes, especially in yarn that doesn't fill spaces very well. And I feel like this is showing off a lot of issues with my tension. You can see right here where it seems to be thicker and then kind of thinner and then thicker here again. And I don't really know what that is. So this is the second time I've knit this portion. I'm just now starting like the big color work, the main color work, and it's not really getting any better. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to block this and see if that helps, because sometimes it does. But I really don't know what the problem is, and I don't think that the problem would be solved by knitting it bottom up and then decreasing on next to those flea stitches. These are called fleas or lice. So this pattern here, and basically you have like a white stitch, and then you would decrease instantly. And I just don't know that having a decrease on either side of the fleece stitches is actually doing me any favors. I'm wondering. Okay, it's not on the color work row. It's on the row directly after, or directly, yeah, on the row directly after. And so I'm having trouble with that, pulling my stitches apparently, and them sinking in. I mean, y'all know I knit a lot of color work and I don't typically have this problem. I've had this problem one other time, and basically I just ended up abandoning the yarn because it just wasn't good for color work, which might be the case with this. It might be. And if it is, I have some pretty golds right here, and I've got a couple of cream skeins that are just in stash, and I'll just make it with that. That's not a big deal. I just, you know, this was a very kid-friendly yarn. It's washable, and it's commercial dyed, so it's not going to do anything weird. It doesn't typically, I've used it before in other projects, it doesn't typically pill or anything like that. I don't know what's going on. I haven't ever had this problem with it before. But whatever, I will figure that out, and I'll report back to you on what I chose to do. And then the only other thing that I've worked on, I've put like 3 rows on my pink velvet, and that's it. I was talking to my husband about the fit, and he suggested that I should decrease a little bit in the waist. It actually fits really well. And he said just because it's going to be for like kind of a dressy type thing, maybe decrease it a little bit along my rib cage. That way it sits a little bit more flush. And yeah, so I'm doing that. Just a reminder again, my yarn choices are all Farmer's Daughter fibers. The main color here is on the Moon Sisters base, which is Gold Stellina, and then the pink fuzz is Mighty Mo held double, so it's a lace weight held double to achieve fingering, and the colorway is Dumplin'. I'm sorry, the main color that is Moon Sisters, the color is Willow Creek. And yeah, I didn't put any work on my Oster. I didn't put any work on my Oster at all. I've been doing a lot of sweater dreaming, to be honest with you. I've got like 4 or 5 sweaters I'd like to cast on right now, and maybe a shawl. Long-term viewers are gonna shake their heads at me. I have had this shawl on the needles for literal years, you guys, literally years. And I just don't work on it. I don't like it. And I don't know why. I like brioche. I love the fabric brioche makes. I'm good at brioche. I can fix brioche. None of this is hard. I just don't want to. And I love the yarns together. They're great. So my main color, my contrast color, my darker main color is Malabrigo Sock. The colorway is Arcangel. And then my contrast color is an old club colorway from Autumn and Indigo. It was called Goodbye Chlorophyll. And they work wonderfully together, and I super love it, and I love the way they work up in brioche, and I actually really do want this to be a shawl. Just not this one. This one is the Sizzle Pop by Lesley Ann Robinson, and I love the way that it looks. Somebody I follow, I can't remember who off the top of my head, but somebody I follow just finished theirs, and it's so pretty. And I love the way that it looks, and I just hate it. I just don't want to knit it. And funny story, I was actually thinking about ripping it out and making a Ramble shawl by Andrea Mowry. That's brioche as well, but it's only brioche for the first like third or 2/3 of it, and then it goes into striped garter, and it would help me, I think, to get rid of yarn. I have so much of this yarn. Like, I know this isn't like a lot or anything like that. This isn't a huge portion of my shawl, but I've made almost no dent in these 2 skeins. And they're not really my color palette anymore, but I don't want to get rid of them. I don't want to destash them. So I've been kind of racking my brains about like, oh, you know, I could make a plumpy because I like brioche, and that's just a brioche panel every now and then. I could do a ramble, which is brioche like this, and then garter. I could do all about that brioche, which is basically one color comes up and then you have a brioche panel in the middle with the contrast color, and then you start with the second color and you finish it out. I could do a Vertices Unite. I would love to do something by Stephen West. I've never knit one of his patterns. I've always wanted to. But the Vertices Unite calls for 5 colors, and I don't have 3 other colors that would coordinate with this. I might have 1. 2 if I looked really hard. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it, but it's gonna come off the, you know, you guys are sitting here. I'm gonna do it with you here because otherwise I won't do it. I know me. So this is gonna come off of the needles, and I just don't know what else it's. Taking brioche off the needles is harder than it looks like. I just don't know what it's gonna become, but I want it to be something, you know? I don't generally sit on projects. This is easily my oldest whip. I usually abandon them long before this. This has been living in a bag. I've been podcasting for, I don't know, maybe 2 years now? I actually don't know. I should look that up. But it's been on the needles ever since I started. So who knows what that's gonna do. So anyway, hi, how are you guys? I hope everything is well for you and that you're keeping your head above water. The world is crazy. I'm sorry if you can hear that. Hector's downstairs watching TV. Yeah, the world's crazy. And so there's been some legislation passed here in the last few weeks that has been really horrible and really troublesome, and it kind of seems to have gotten drowned out by the fact that we had a couple of celebrities have beef with each other on stage, which is really sad because people's lives are on the line, and we're just so anxious to look at something else that, you know, the media has been, I don't know, putting all of its efforts in a place that it doesn't really need to, I guess, is how I feel about it. But there will be links below. As always, there's always a link in my bio on Instagram if you would like to donate for Ukraine. And usually various other things. I usually have several things that you can donate to. Or ways to get a hold of your representatives. That's a big one. Elections are a thing. And there are a lot of seats up for grabs this time. And it would be really, really nice to fight for the world that we would like to see and to start pushing for that change. Because honestly, it's already hard. We might as well do something about it, you know? Anyway, I don't really have anything else to report. I just wanted to sit down and chat with you guys. I'm sorry that it's kind of short and kind of empty this week, but I haven't really had much going on except that sweater, and I'm glad that it's over now. So I'm hoping to get at least one panel, one side, either the front or the back. I think I'm on the back. I'm hoping to get one panel of this at least done by the time I talk to you next time. I have that sweater, which is supposed to be done by Saturday. Who knows? With the way that that's going right now, I'm just annoyed with the whole thing. And yeah, I think that that's all that I've got. So I will let you go from here. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.